Throw those rascals in the truck bed and hitch up the trailer, Mama. It's time for another half-baked episode of Nature Calls.
Welcome, everyone, to the Nature Calls podcast. My name is Mr. Pete. I'm your host for the show. Spring has definitely sprung here, and it's hot outside. Way too early for my liking. The trees are blooming out, and it made me think of something. Let me ask you this. Now, be honest, don't lie. Does anyone here get jealous of their neighbors? Maybe Mrs. Crabapple's flowers are prettier than yours. Maybe her grass is so short and tight that pro golfers ask if they can hit balls off her front lawn. I'll admit that I sometimes get jealous, or maybe not so much jealous as envious, because, you see, I got this neighbor around the corner, and he has 4 really nice deer racks mounted inside his garage. I mean, big ones. And all I got is like one puny little 4-pointer. Every time I drive by his place, it's like I can't help but sneak a peek inside there. I can't help myself. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you got a neighbor like that. Anyway, that's my confession. I have envy in my heart. Later on in our podcast, we'll have a new feature about confessions that I think you'll enjoy. But for now, let's settle in for a story about what happens when you do something innocent and it ends up bringing the world down on your head. I don't want to spoil it for y'all, so here it is. The story is called Shooting Squirrels Off the Back Porch, and you heard it here on Nature Calls.
I'm in deep trouble, boys, Scarfy said to Amos and me. We 3 were sitting at a tiny table in the Gas and Gulp, eating lunch. I'm itchier than a dog with butt worms, he said. I'm talking federal prison this time around. I stopped chewing. Care to explain federal prison? His eyes drifted slowly around the room. I shot a rare animal of sorts at my house. I was plinking squirrels out the back window, like I do, and I dropped one from the trees. It hit the ground and bounced in a weird way. Turns out it was frozen stiff, except its eyes blinked at me. I thought it was trying to hypnotize me before biting off my nose. What did it look like? I asked. Darndest thing. It had a head like a house cat, the body of a raccoon, and a long, skinny tail like a weasel was mixed in there somehow. What did you do with it? Put it in a sack and drove it down to Doc Holliday's. Doc was our local vet who doubled as the county varmint eradication expert. If anybody knew what it was, it would be him. Doc took one look and pronounced it a new species, something like a missing link. Scarfy went all shaky and teary-eyed. The only one of its kind left in the world, and I was going to make buffalo wings out of it. Then what happened? I asked between bites. Doc said he was going to send it to the Smithsonian for an autopsy. Said the feds would want to see it. And I grabbed it from him and ran out the door. Tell me one good thing the government hadn't screwed up. You still got it? Yeah, in my trunk. We all looked out the window at his dented 1970s Chevy Chevette hatchback. It's out there? In your car? Spoiling? Maybe you ought to give it a proper burial. I looked at Amos, then back at Scarfy. But before you say the last rites, I want to see it for myself. You boys gotta disavow me, Scarfy said, swinging his arms like a baseball umpire. Disavow me right now, and be free of my stain on this world. I'm that guy who steps on a pretty flower just to watch it die. The feds are asking for the gun I used to kill the creature. What are you gonna do? They want it. They're gonna have to pry it from my cold, dead hands. Well, give me a look at the thing before you head for the hills. Reluctantly, he went to his car and came back wearing a clothespin on his nose and holding the gunny sack at arm's length. The gas and grunt cleared out fast. The weight of the dead animal left a round shape in the fabric. Scarfy opened the bag and said, "Feast your eyes upon the bane of my existence." Inside the bag was a decomposing creature with glassy eyes that stared into space, just like what he described. Scarfy teared up again. Dear Lord, I hope that poor animal's walking in a field of heavenly flowers right now. He better be, I said with a choked cough, because what you got in that bag will strip paint off the walls. Weeks passed without a word from Scarfy. Last we heard, he was moving around the county, slipping into the woods at daybreak and emerging at night to buy a few groceries and gas. And all the while, the feds were filling the woods with game cameras, placing them every 2 to 3 feet along trails, attempting to catch sight of a possible mate to the strange creature. The game cameras caught cheating spouses, arsonists, roaming gypsies, and Sasquatch, but no cat-headed raccoon. Pest control traps were laid around town in tight clusters, a veritable minefield of wire cages and wet cat food. The cages managed to capture every cat twice over, but with no luck catching the missing link. Spring became summer, and no other cat, raccoon, weasel creatures were spotted. A team of biology students from Washington State University spent a month slicing open 10,000 stool samples collected from local critters, with not a single DNA hit. Spy satellites were pointed into our woods and turned up 186 tax-dodging pot farms. A single one-day sweep by the DEA hauled in enough marijuana to fund the entire Social Security Administration for a week, and still no missing link. Then it happened. At a Labor Day barbecue, Amos took me by the elbow and walked me out of earshot of the crowd. "This has been bugging me for some time. I gotta get it off my chest." "Okay, what?" I asked. "The missing link everybody's been looking for? It was mine. All mine. I decided to try some backyard do-it-yourself taxidermy using local roadkill. I Frankensteined some things together." "You didn't think to mention this when Scarfy was around?" "It was taxidermy gone wrong. Who in their right mind would think it would lead to this?" "How'd it get in the tree?" I asked. Amos's hands shook as he tapped out a cigarette and stuck it between his lips. It was so bad that I couldn't stand to look at it another second. I threw it out in the snow behind the garage, hoping a coyote would carry it off. Instead, an eagle swooped in and flew it away. I guess it took it down to the river and dropped it in the trees where Scarfy shot it. "And the eyes?" I asked. Scarfy said the eyes blinked at him, like they were alive. Of course they blinked. The eyes were terrifying. After all my awful stuffing of the fur, I had to put eyes in the creature, but I couldn't get the little glassy marbles to stay in place. They kept falling out. So, in a last-ditch effort, I snuck into my daughter's bedroom at night and stole the trashiest doll I could find, a Miss Holly Have-A-Good-Time, a trailer park floozy with a tight miniskirt and black push-up bra. I felt so bad about stealing the doll's eyes that I taped a $5 bill to her forehead and shoved it under my daughter's pillow. Did she find the doll? Yeah, she found it all right. She's doing better now that she's in therapy.
Nature calls. We're country like 40 acres of alfalfa with a double shot of Dulcolax.
Hello, I'm attorney Frank Frostheimer. Has anyone but yourself or a loved one ever removed the tags from your furniture cushions? Then you may be entitled to a large settlement. Call my law firm, Frostheimer, Hammerslottel, Blumenholtz, and Jones. Our experienced attorneys who specialize in tag removal will get you the money you deserve. And remember, we don't get paid until you do. Well, last year we never made a cent at all.
Breaking news. With falling SAT scores nationwide, the traditional written language version of the college entrance exam will now be brought in line with modern cultural trends and feature emojis. That's right. Instead of multiple choice answers in words, the test will now be an oral exam with all answers as emoji choices. A practice test was released yesterday. Let's give a listen to the first question.
If a train were leaving Los Angeles at 1 o'clock and traveling at 400 miles per hour, approximately how long would it take to reach New York City? The choices are smiling face, laughing face, angry face, crying face.
This new test is certified artificial intelligence approved by the Cyborg Workers Union of America, or the CWUA, and is designed to reach out to millions of teenagers who would otherwise not make it into college. The Cyborg Union reminds us that societal changes planned for us by our AI overlords in 2030 will require billions of emoji-inspired workers to carry out their demands. In entertainment news, the new 007 movie is set to release soon and will feature major changes to the spy character James Bond. He will now be a purse-toting, high-heeled drag queen with a fire station mustache and glossy red lipstick. The studio says that changing the masculine qualities in the character's identity comes as pressure builds from, what's that? Sorry, folks, but we have breaking news coming in. It seems we are getting reports that the ground around Thornbird, England, is convulsing. Is there an earthquake or something? Oh my. Is that what's happening? What? No? Apparently, folks, it's not an earthquake at all. But instead, the author Ian Fleming of 007 fame is currently rolling over in his grave. I'm Igor Fumbleton for the Nature Calls podcast.
Nature Calls is one shortstop shy of having a full ball team.
Our musical guest is songwriter Royce Ellis. Royce grew up in the Texas Panhandle. He did a stint in the Army in Europe where he talked his way into Armed Forces radio and wrote song parodies and musical comedy bits. After the military, Royce spent 30 years working in television and advertising. His latest adventure is music, songwriting specifically, sticking to the lyrics, and working on his dusty gems until they become polished diamonds. Songwriting, the editing, mixing, and fine-tuning is addictive, Royce says. His first song on today's show is called Address Unknown and was inspired by his sister who gave him a couple of lyrics to get started. She had the idea for a song about leaving someone and not letting them know where she was headed. So here we go with Address Unknown on the Nature Calls podcast.
Today slipped in the back and rolled away, left my troubles in the dust behind and blew you clean out of my mind. You did me wrong from the day we met. I'm leaving now with no regrets. Don't try to find me, don't you phone. I'm long gone to address unknown. So long, dude, I'm gone, I'm done. No map, no trail, no rising sun. I'm not lost, just overthrown. You better bet, dress unknown. No more tears, no looking back. I'm riding strong, I'm on my track. The past can't hold what I've outgrown. I'm headed home, address unknown. I gave you love, I gave you time, but all you gave me was a lie. Now I'm done with second chances. I'm chasing peace, not backward glances. Did my bus go north or south? Secret stays within my mouth. Maybe east or maybe west, but parts unknown is my address. So long, dude, I'm gone, I'm done. No map, no trail, no rising sun. I'm not lost, just overgrown. You better bet, dress unknown.
End of the second quarter. Nature Calls is the halftime show we all wanted.
After you've had a good-ass meal at a good-ass restaurant, be sure to order up a piece of good-ass pie. Yes, there's nothing quite so satisfying as good-ass pie. What do you think about that, Layford?
That sure is some good-ass pie.
This message brought to you by the National Good-Ass Pie Council, member FDSIC.
Adequate Construction is a company run by men and women who do a fairly reasonable job. Our low prices are right in line with the quality of work we do. We're generally on time, and once we get there, we give it a full 80%. But hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to what our customers say. Here's Irene Hawker of Donaldsville.
Well, yes, I called them to my home to replace my old storm windows, and they did a okay job.
And Bradford Spangler of Beattytown.
Well, sir, me and the old lady had them come out and build a shed for us out there and back. It ain't too bad.
So next time you need a project done around your house, call Adequate Construction. We don't do great work, but it'll be somewhat decent.
Welcome to Outdoors Confessionals. I'm your host, Father Daniel O'Flannery, coming to you live from the Cathedral of St. Renerius. If you're new here, this is a call-in program on the Nature Calls podcast, where outdoors women and men can dial our hotline and leave their secret confessions. We play their recordings for our audience so you can know how to pray for and hold up your fellow hunters and fishermen and women in their weaknesses. So let's get started, shall we, with our first confession?
Hello, Father O'Flannery. I hate to admit this, but I told a bunch of skinny-dipping teenagers I caught in my fishing hole that there was parasites living in the water and that they would crawl up their wee-wees and pee-pees and lay bug eggs in there that they could never get rid of. Oh boy, you should have seen them scrambled out of the river. I thought they was a-walking on water. Anyhow, I'm really sorry for that.
As well, you should be sorry, my son, for if you have never had parasites in, say, your wee-wee, then you wouldn't understand that it's no joking matter. Okay, let's move on to our next confessional.
Hi there, Father. How y'all doing? I did a bad thing. I sold my husband's autographed Loretta Lynn guitar at the pawn shop yesterday and used the money to buy a carton of Marlboros, a fishing license, and a half-dozen zombie apocalypse lottery tickets. I'm thinking about getting a look-alike guitar and faking her name on there with a felt marker. What y'all think about that being an all-right makeup for my sins?
Well, young lady, I would say that two wrongs certainly don't make a right. Regarding the stolen guitar, I looked up the value with the autograph, and it's worth around $1,000. So, if your husband decides to press charges for you selling it at the pawn shop, you might be looking at a felony. My best advice would be to hold on to the cigarettes because that's money in your pocket when you get to prison. And you'd better start praying that those zombie lottery tickets are worth enough to cover your lawyer fees. The clock on the wall says we have time for one more confessional.
Father O'Flannery, Your Holy Eminence, I'm nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory about telling anyone about what I done. I hope no one recognizes my voice over here, but I did two things that I need forgiveness for. Firstly, I told my old lady that I got held up at the gas and grub and that two guys stole all my money. What really happened was I needed the cash for the entry fee into a fishing tournament next weekend. Would that be considered a going to hell offense or just a little fib? Please say just a fib. Second off, I took her mama's family heirloom earrings from the jewelry box and turned them into fishing lures for the tournament. I think they're really going to catch the light just right. Was that also wrong? Don't I legally have the say in half of them since we're married and all?
Make sure your Wi-Fi is set up next to the porta potty. Wouldn't want to miss a moment of the podcast.
Royce Ellis is our guest songwriter for this episode. He has released over 23 songs, and we are very privileged to have his music on the show today. This next song is titled Lone Star Guide. It stems from an idea he had about the theme park, Six Flags Over Texas, and how the people of the Lone Star State have pretty much trimmed it down to just one flag. Here it is, Lone Star Guide on the Nature Calls podcast.
Sun burns gold on the endless plain, and the rivers run like a slow refrain. A whisper drifts through cottonwood trees. This is the place I was born to be. Dusty roads where the cows come home, honky-tonks humming where the outlaws roam, guitar strumming neath the star-filled sky, fire snapping off its own sweet cry. I got a lone star guiding my night. No tall tales, just the warmth of Texas life. From the Red River Valley to the Rio Grande Bend, every trail in Texas seems to circle again. Blue bonnets paint the fields in spring, truck driving women in their rhinestone jeans, cricket pumps nod in the setting sun. Rangers on horseback get the job done. San Antonio's bells in a mission chime. Alamo seem to echo through time. Oil hands heading home from a Gulf, touching dry land on the Texas coast. Sipping cowboy coffee in the morning dew. Hill country pits throwing smoke for you. I got a lone star crowned in the night, one flag shining like a bright Porsche light. From the Panhandle down to Galveston Bay, thanking God for Texas and another day. They call us Southern, but we ain't that. We're Texans standing firm in boots and hat, not a Wild West yarn or an old cliche. Roll in as a stranger, but you're bound to stay. I got a lone star guiding my night, waving one flag and it looks alright. Something ancient in this starry lit land, Texas old friend calling me again. From Buffalo Gap to the Marfa Lights, quakes the sight, feels like nature's birthright. No matter where I wander, where I've been, my heart longs to be in Texas again. I got a lone star, shines through the field, a cowboy's heart and a rebel's chill. Everything in Texas, this Texan holds dear. Oh, Texas, I hear your voice in the canyon side, whispering, come home to a Texas sky. I got a lone star lighting my way.
Nature Calls, helping you reconnect with the basics in life.
From the Team Sports Desk. The world of downhill mountain bike racing takes a big leap forward this week by allowing a new classification into its ranks. Electric scooters will now be a part of the circuit competition. The battery-powered rockets promise to bring new thrills for the spectators as they blast down the barren ski runs at 114 miles an hour, just before dissolving into pizza toppings. In other news, baseball's spring training is underway. The team from Colorado has found an unusual way to recover from last year's disastrous numbers by replacing all their players with life-sized cardboard cutouts. The move puts an additional $200 million in the owner's wallet, while keeping the weekly fans who show up to drink beer in the outfield satisfied.
Well, it's once again time to load the dogs in the front and kids in the back and get some wind in my hair. It's been fun wasting time with y'all. Nature Calls is a production of Siegfried and Sonatube Publishing. Our sound engineer is Scat Bear, post-production by Marlo Wingerback, and produced by Hammer Good Times. Recording was made at Dandelion Studios in Wahoo County, Colorado. My name is Mr. Pete, and I appear courtesy of 11 Lab Studios in New York City. The show writers are James McHugh and Dick Hatfield. Our songwriter guest was Royce Ellis. He can be found on SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and other outlets. I'm going to read his email address for you. It's roycester@charter.net. Drop him a line. Let him know how you liked his music. I'm sure he would appreciate it.